There is a silent pressure that most single Christians carry, the kind no one talks about but almost everyone carries. We smile in public, we serve in the church, and we say all the kind things, but deep down, there are battles behind the belief, questions we are afraid to ask and to voice, emotions we are unsure we are even allowed to feel. But let's be honest for a moment. Because something healing begins with confession, right? Not to man, but to God, and then by ourselves. Here are five things many Christians, singles, are afraid to admit. The first one is, I'm tired of waiting. Yes, you trust in God's timing. You believe that His best is definitely your best. Yes, you know that He is faithful. But sometimes the waiting seems to take much longer. You wonder if God has forgotten, or you ask yourself if you are praying on the right things, or if you are doing something wrong. And the hardest part is feeling guilty. You feel guilty because you see others go happen, their prayers being answered. You feel hurt and you feel guilty of feeling this way. So there's a part of feeling you have left behind and still you feel guilty of the same feeling that you have. But honestly, honesty doesn't offend God. It invites Him into your weakness. That's deep. That honesty doesn't offend God. It invites Him into your weakness. The moment that you are broken is the one that invites God into your life. That He wants to listen to you. That, yeah, you feel like you're tired of waiting. You feel like it's taking too long. But God wants to listen. It's human to have these feelings. It's human to have these emotions. It's human to feel as though it's taking too long. These are some of the things that Christians singers don't want to admit. The second thing that we don't want to admit is, I feel like I'm behind. You see friends getting married. You see your friends getting babies. They are starting families, posting anniversary photos with their families. You see, and though you celebrate them, there's a quiet ache that whispers, why not me? Why am I not in that position? You see, comparison may not be godly, but it is real. It's definitely real, and it can quietly elude your confidence, take your confidence if you don't bring it to the light, if you don't bring it to God and tell Him how you feel and what's going on. The third thing that we don't want to admit is, I struggle with loneliness more than I let on. Ministry, work, and purpose fill our schedules. We are doing this, we are doing that, and our schedules is filled up with all this. But not always your soul. Your soul craves for that affection. There are nights when you crave companionship. That night that you crave deep conversations, being known deeply by someone. And though God is enough, yeah, truly, the desire for human connection doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. You are human. You are not weak because you feel this desire to connect with human beings, with your fellow human. It's something that we are struggling and we don't want to admit. But today we're here to admit all this, right? The fourth thing that we don't want to admit is, sometimes I'm not sure I'll ever find the right one. It's true. We have prayed, we have waited, maybe dated wisely, but sometimes hope feels distant. What if it never happens? These are questions that lingers in our minds. What if the one you believed in wasn't the one you thought? These are the same questions that we ask ourselves. These fears often go unspoken, but they are more common than you think. You might think that people are not thinking of these things, but they are truly constantly thinking about and asking about these questions. The other thing, the last thing you don't want to admit is that purity is a fight, not a badge I wear easily. You see, it's a fight. Purity is a fight, not a badge we wear easily. It's easy to talk about purity when no one is around. But when feelings are involved, when temptations rise, when no one sees, it's a battle. It's a struggle for single Christians. But struggle doesn't mean that you are failing. It means you are still fighting. You are still putting in the work. You see? So if you felt any of this, you are not less spiritual. You're human. And God meets us right there in our raw honesty, in our quiet questions, in our trembling trust. That where God is meeting you, is meeting us. You don't have to pretend at all. You don't have to keep pretending. God doesn't bless the version of you that you perform. He blesses the one that you surrender to Him. So keep waiting, not in fear, but in faith. Not in silence, but in truth. You are not behind. You are just being prepared. And nothing surrendered to God is ever wasted. I really hope this video really opened up your eyes. I know there are so many things that we don't want to admit, but they are there. So I would really appreciate if you would write them and drop them on the comment section. We can know what are these things that we are struggling about, but we don't want to admit honestly. If you do this, then it shall help one another. So see you in my next video.